I think we're live. So hello, everyone. Welcome to Turkish Philanthropy Fund's Voices of Partners. My name is Didem Altop, and I am your new host this season. And I'm so excited for my first episode to be sharing the stage with Senem Başyurt and Suna Hanöz from Anne Çocuk Eğitim Vakfi, also known in Turkey lovingly as ACEV. And today we will learn more about the TPF partner ACEV, which is based in Istanbul, Turkey. And I'm going to start with a few introductions and have our guests share a little bit about themselves. But the exciting news is we're also celebrating Senem Başyurt's new role as the general manager for ACEV as of September 2021. Congratulations, Senem.
Thank you very much.
What an exciting development in the civil society space. Previously, Senem was working as the General Secretary of Darüşşafaka Society, another very well-respected TPF partner between 2017 and 2021, I believe, as well as supporting other women's initiatives. But I think what's really exciting about Senem's career is the civil society world has won somebody over from the private sector. Senem has held many executive level positions as a change management expert, working in Turkey's consultancy and investment banking arena, including really esteemed companies such as Anderson Consulting, Körfez Bank, Demirbank, HSBC, and Ernst & Young. And it's no surprise she has a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering from Boğaziçi University and an MBA from the University of Exeter, along with an advanced level license from the Capital Markets Board of Turkey. So Senem, thank you so much for making time for us today. It's really exciting to be sharing this moment with you, actually. It's very, very exciting as you're making this transition. With a longer legacy at ACEV, we have Suna Hanöz Penny, who's working as the Director of International Programs at ACEV. While she's based in Istanbul, Turkey, her work involves building and maintaining local partnerships around the world. So she's actually working with Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Tanzania, Cambodia, Brazil, just to name a few, which is really, really exciting to see Turkish philanthropy, the roots here, being able to export its expertise and share that expertise around the world. Suna's she's the co-author of ACEV's preschool education program and the mother support program. And when she's working with her international partnerships, she's providing them with key technical expertise on program design, management implementation, field research, parent training and development. And again, no surprise, Suna is a Fulbright scholar, fantastic. She received her Master's of Arts in Early Childhood Education from Teachers College at Columbia University. And she also has a Master in Public Administration from the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard. And last but not least, she holds her Bachelor's of Arts degree in Early Childhood Education and Psychology from Boğaziçi. So it's a wonderful, you guys are all global citizens, I'm gonna say, which is really fantastic and very exciting to see such talented people choosing the third sector as a career choice among one area of inspiration. But let's get into ACEV, let's just deep dive in. And maybe I'm going to start with Senem and you can share the stage with Suna. But now that you've entered ACEV, how have you embraced ACEV's mission and its theory of change? Like, how are you internalizing it? What does it mean to you?
Didem, thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. ACEV, as some people on the audience may know, works in the area of early childhood development. So, and our mission is to make sure that every child starts life has a fair start in life. So we support that with training programs that target children as well as their parents and even the wider society as a whole. So actually, what makes ACEV unique in this area is that its mission has been based on a scientific study, and we proudly sustain that in our all programs. And our programs are based on studies which we actually then monitor, evaluate, and develop further throughout our programs.
That's really, it's very science-based, evidence-based, research-based, and the whole monitoring. I think that that's actually what makes AÇEV one of Turkey's most respected and trusted NGOs in the country, because you are really fulfilling that whole life cycle. And before we get into like the details of your programs, maybe we could talk about those different stakeholders. So your real goal, maybe your beneficiary is empowering children, but to do that, you're leveraging parents. And I can turn to Suna and talk a little bit about the theory of program design, like why parents and children and not teachers and children, for example, or are you also tackling teachers?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Didem. So our goal is to ensure all young children have a fair start in life, right? And we're trying to reduce the disparities, as Senem mentioned, address inequalities in their lives. And just a quick reminder, today, early childhood is now widely accepted as a powerful equalizer, something that has the power to break the cycle of intergenerational poverty and violence. And how do we do it? Now, instead of only training the children, ACEV actually has come up with this very innovative model 30 years ago about supporting the environment of children. And it's a very sustainable model. We basically work with parents, mothers, fathers separately, children, obviously, with teachers as well. We're trying to basically impact the immediate environment of the children so that they can have a fair start in life. And I can go on and on about this, but I'll pause there.
Senem, how big is this issue? I mean, when we say early childhood, what age range are we really talking about? In Turkey specifically, what are some statistics you might wish to share, perhaps?
Did you ask me or Senem? Oh,
I asked Senem, but both of you are welcome to answer.
We target the early childhood, which is from 0 to 6 years, the age that most children start school. We target the earliest age that also has the highest potential of learning. So our theory is that you can have the most impact in the earliest years of the child. And if you can address the differences in the child development, then you can actually carry this impact in the longer years of life, continuing in the education than even in the working days. So maybe about statistics, we know that Turkey has one of the youngest populations. So we have actually more than 25 million children, as we should say, under the age of 18, and nearly about 5 million in the earlier years where we actually focus. So and considering that it has ongoing impact, not just for these years, but for the even in the childhood and then adolescence. So we expect our impact to go on through the whole life cycle of the let's say children.
It sounds like really you're setting the seeds of learning how to learn at a really young age, and then that they can carry with them as a toolkit throughout their lifetime. So if you can get them to learn how to learn from 0 to 6, then all of a sudden you really enabled them with a survival.
We try to make sure that children take education as something exciting and that they would like to contribute to. So a lot of children drop out from school because of earlier experiences, let's say, making them believe that they cannot really do it, or they're not at the right development stage, or they're not supported by their families. So that's what we are trying to overcome. So to make sure that they perceive learning experience as something exciting, and that they can carry that out in the later stages of their life.
So maybe an example of one of your programs, Suna, maybe you might want to share an example to illustrate what Senem is referring to.
Yes. So I do need to emphasize, key to AÇEV's success has been firstly identifying and capitalizing on the untapped resource of potential parents. So our programs have started actually around the mother support program, and then derivatives and other offerings have come up, and AÇEV continues to really increase its program models. But what am I talking about? So parent support programs address the issue of supporting children's development, in specifically in the years of 0 to 6, and parents and gender equal parenting, because as you know, early childhood development does tend to fall on the shoulders of the women mostly. So parents participating in AÇEV programs increase the amount of quality time spent with their children. As Senem mentioned, there's a lot of impact evaluation carried out on the program offerings, and we're always internally and externally checking what the impact is. One, to improve our programs, and to see the impact on the beneficiaries. So the quality time spent with children, and then they become more involved in supporting their child's cognitive development practices. They use more positive child disciplining methods, and their knowledge of child protection increases. In terms of preschool programs, they're directly related to increasing children's school readiness for primary school. Because imagine a child who's come to age 6 and has never had any access to any early childhood development services. The child is going to be like a fish out of water when they begin first grade. And so our whole goal is to increase that school readiness, improve academic school success, reduce school attrition rates at the end of grade 1, grade 2, and really put the children on a fair start to life, and have them increase their options in life and fulfill their potential.
Fantastic. Leveraging parents, the gender filters that we all have, these unspoken biases or filters. The awareness of that is quite interesting. Are these programs taking the place of just the lack of early childhood education programs and services? So it's something that they can do at home, or is it complementary? How does that work?
So I can quickly answer that, and then perhaps Senem can add on. They're absolutely supportive programs. Our goal is not to supplement a year-long, 2 years long early childhood education, hopefully that the government can provide. We're all supporting universal access to early childhood education. However, yes, especially those families who do not have access to it because they're living in socioeconomically disadvantaged settings, benefit the most from these parenting support programs, where parents can support their children at home, prepare their children for school at home, and have a better idea, and they're more equipped, perhaps that's a better way of saying it, about how to spend quality time with their children. And as I said, a powerful equalizer for them.
Senem, would you like to add anything to that topic?
Our target audience is actually the lower socioeconomic classes. So we would like to fill a gap where education, early child education is not available. So it's not, of course, a substitute for a 3-year-long school system, but we are trying to make sure that once they start school, at least the children have enough experience with learning so that they can make an even start with the other children who had the experience of schooling in their earlier years.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And then you're trying to minimize that gap from the very beginning, which is all of this is really fascinating in light of the corona pandemic. Everybody was forced to stay at home. People had to work from home, but then parents also had to get more involved in their children's education from home, especially online. And you can see that parents are kind of a fish out of water when it comes to, you know, helping their children with their educational development issues. So being able to provide this support for early childhood education is fascinating. How did your lives change during Corona COVID period? Was there a greater demand? Was there a different demand?
Actually, all our programs were face-to-face before the pandemic. So once we had the pandemic and had to shut down everything, including schools, we also had to make a great change in our delivery of the programs. So, and we also faced challenges because our target group, we were not really sure of their technology literacy or access to technology, which is another additional challenge for that socio-economic group. So we really had to adapt quickly. And of course, we could not really use technologically developed tools at the moment, but WhatsApp or YouTube videos became very easy tools to start the or continue what we were doing with the parents. And what we could do in a physical space, we tried to share them through boxes of learning materials, and then sort of supporting the parents with the use of that. So it was not just this time our physical programs that the mothers, fathers, and children attended, but we tried to sort of replicate that in the homes. And of course, we owe a great deal to our volunteers who do most of the trainings. So they had to adapt quickly, and we had to support some of the non-tech approaches as well, but we understand that it was an increasing need for these programs. And interesting outcomes, we have seen that we were able to reach a different target group, you know, who could not attend the physical training before because they were working or something else, or some other reason, or they could attend for longer periods because they could also do the duties at home. So we had the opportunity to reach to a group that maybe we could not reach before. So which was actually a good learning for us. And we hope to incorporate that into our physical programs as well. So maybe use different models consequently.
Fascinating. So Corona actually forced all of us to be a little bit more innovative. You know, we kind of were procrastinating perhaps on the use of technology before, and it forced us to embrace it. And even using the most basic tools like WhatsApp and YouTube, you're actually able to create accessible solutions to many different audiences. And then the whole digital literacy component was an added bonus or an added benefit to kind of the information and the insight or the upskilling that you've been sharing with your audiences, it seems like. Interesting. So moving forward then, Suna, will you be developing more hybrid programs? Like you'll have the in-person programs, online programs, maybe hybrid programs?
So going through this phase, the whole early childhood field is actually going through a real-time experiment. We're really trying to figure out what alternative
Of course.
And yeah, children have completely different needs, but perhaps we'll come up with ways of training the parents in more innovative, using more innovative models.
Yes, fascinating. I mean, the no screen time issue and the sensitivities around that, and Corona, just kind of everything flew out the window, and people had to create, I suppose, new rules. And hopefully we'll figure out the healthiest way to move forward for everybody. So right now you're at a crossroad. We're coming upon the end of 2021. What are some of your biggest campaigns these days? What are you working on there? Is there more than one campaign that you're promoting, or is there a main campaign that you're promoting? Senem, you had mentioned earlier this new campaign that was important.
We actually launched a campaign in the earlier this year, and we are adding new features, and we will be promoting that as well. So we have this campaign called the Reading Future, where we provide books to children who do not have really access to books for the earlier years. So it's really important for the children to have their parents actually read to them before they learn to read and write. And there are lots of activities that can be put around that to enforce their learning. So it's really important for their cognitive development, for language development. And so we have developed a program around that, where we have a set of boxes which include books, and also instructions, other materials that the parents can use in conjunction with that. And we send those to our target group. We really choose who are the right targets to receive that. And then our volunteers call the parents and help them to use these materials and actually read to their child, and then use the follow-on activities. So we are trying to make sure that every child in Turkey has a book of their own before they start school, actually, and have we would want them to start life with affinity to reading books. So that's a new campaign we are promoting. And we also are continuing with our other training programs. Also, we have an application. It's called The First 6 Years. So we are helping the parents with all the problems that they may face. We hope to help them, in an online environment.
So you have your main programs, you have the reading literacy program, the book program, and then you have the app program. What are the best ways for people to get involved? Maybe as a volunteer or as a donor. It can be an individual or even a company. I mean, it sounds like the kits, for example, that you're sending to the beneficiaries are maybe standardized, but are you accepting donated preschool books, or is that something different?
We actually choose the books which will be according to which activities or behavior we would like to promote in the children. So they are not just any children books, but they are specific to the learning initiatives that we're trying to promote. So in that respect, we're not accepting books from donors, but we have prepared some sets, and they can actually donate and help us distribute those sets to the children. So actually, we fundamentally depend on donations to continue our operations. So what we do are all based on donations, and individuals help us in our sustainability. Once they become our donors, they also become our advocates. Our theory of change is a long-term one. So our impact is not easily seen in the next day. We see that our donors really believe in the mission, and then they become advocates of change in the larger society. So we help that, and as I said, most of our programs are delivered by our volunteers. So individuals can also become volunteers, but we really require a lot of commitment for that. So there's a long training program, and we would like them to continue the system for a foreseeable future. So we really ask for a lot of commitment. And even if they are able to do that, that's great. If not, anyone can support us with their donations.
Fantastic. Sounds like a wonderful opportunity to volunteer as well. If you're maybe changing careers, in between careers, or you want to explore the nonprofit sector, or you're from the education sector, it's a wonderful opportunity actually for many people to explore. And I do remember that, again, one of AÇEV's reputation builders is how fantastic your volunteer program is, actually, that it's very robust, it's very serious, and it does require a long-term and serious commitment, but it's also a standard. It's one of the gold standards in the civil society sector of Turkey. Thank you. Suna, would you like to?
As I said, it's a long commitment, but still, I guess it's the ideal way to get in touch and see the impact. So I guess that's what it keeps our volunteers going. So they see the change in the parents and how they affect the children. And I guess that's the main motivation for our volunteers.
Thank you, Senem. That's really exciting, actually. I'm going to look more into it myself. I have lots of friends who would like to volunteer, I think. Suna, can you tell us more about these 3 different programs? Would you like to add something about them? Maybe perhaps also the application, where can we download it? Who should download it?
Absolutely. Can I just say a quick addition to the previous early literacy campaign? Yes. It's really important that everyone knows that learning to read and write, early literacy, is an ongoing process from infancy. It doesn't happen overnight, or it doesn't happen suddenly when children are 5 years old when they begin kindergarten, or 6 years old when they begin first grade. So I guess, first of all, it's very important for all our supporters, TPF supporters, to know that. And there's so much that parents and families and caregivers can do to support their children's language and literacy skills, because language and literacy skills for children are directly linked to their, again, school success and their achievement lag. and beyond. In terms of the app, absolutely. So first 6 years app, İlk 6 yıl, is AÇEV's app. Anyone can download it. You don't even have to be a parent. You can be an aunt, uncle, neighbor, sister, brother. Just download the app and just put, all you have to do is actually a little child between the ages of 0 to 6 years old, who's close to you. So put their name and put their exact age, and every day you'll be receiving little messages, little tips on how to support that child's development. That's number one. And number two, we do offer parenting programs in Turkey. So if you are in Turkey or anyone you know who would benefit from our parenting programs, you're always welcome.
So the parenting programs, they could be open to anybody, right? So if I own a company and I want to do something for my employees and I create a parenting workshop for my employees, I could do that too.
That's a good question, Didem. Actually, for the longest time, we've been running these programs in partnership with ministries, running it in public schools. Recently, yes, with the Involved Fatherhood campaign, we have carried out a few implementations in the private sector, because we also wanted the private companies to understand that they have a huge role. If they want, they can support involved, engaged fatherhood, which is directly linked to gender equality, right? They can take an initiative and increase the paternity leave they give to fathers who have newborn children. So as to your question, only if it's a company that we've actually had some collaboration with and they're keen on starting a fatherhood program under their roof, absolutely, we would be more than willing to train them. But other than that, the mainstream implementations have been going on usually in the public school systems or with different NGO collaborations and etc.
Are we also able to direct our donations? So let's say I'm from Kayseri and I would like to support AÇEV's activities in Kayseri. Can I also earmark my donations that way?
Certainly. If we other than the school system, we are usually using the other volunteers. So if we can have a program there, you can direct your donations for the specific program that we run in Kayseri, let's say.
So helping build capacity in Kayseri, for example.
Yes,
it could be organized like my relatives. And we could, do some. I have 100 cousins. I could organize them. 100 cousins, we can donate and support your programs in Kayseri. That would be wonderful, I think. So ladies, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. This is my first webinar, but I love the space that you're in. I admire so much the work that AÇEV is doing. And I'm so inspired by both your backgrounds and your dedication to this sector and your vision for what's coming next. If our listeners would like to support AÇEV and their work, you can visit the TPF page. Actually, it's called donate.tpffund.org campaign AÇEV, and you can see it actually in the chat box, but also on our other social media tags. You'll find the link there. It's been wonderful. AÇEV is really a beacon for the entire civil society sector. I know it's about children and empowering children, but it's also about empowering families, I think, which is brilliant. And how you engage all the stakeholders there's so many case studies there that we can all learn from. I look forward to hearing more about what's coming next. Is there anything you would like to add before we leave our show today?
You said it very well. It's all about strengthening the society.
Yeah.
And investing in the human capital.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. we really think the biggest difference can be made in the earlier years. So that's why we focus on that age group. And hopefully it will be a more just society in this way.
So thank you everybody for listening to our Voices of Partners with ACEV. Today we were with Senem Başyurt and Suna Hanöz from ACEV. We look forward to being with you again next month when we meet more of our partners of the Turkish